Well, I will answer your questions now, Peter. When it comes to craving or aversion is stronger. No, it shows on it shows in procrastination and avoiding the spiritual disciplines. Of course, they cannot live together. Hmm? The illusion and truth, they don't really have the same vibration. They cannot stand together. So yes, the character will have aversion to spiritual practices. This is why one of the best spiritual practices to train this to become an instrument and not the master, but the disciple. It is to train the mind to do what it doesn't like to do. This is very good because eventually, if you do this long enough, it will come to a point where it doesn't give opinions, and if it does, you have a distance to it. Identity has a distance from the mind, and you can use it as an instrument and not as that which is dictating or directing. So this is good. But craving and aversion, they have the same power. Maybe craving is even more powerful than aversion. And it keeps you in balance, without any equanimity. As long as one is there, the other is there, because the one who is not craving doesn't have aversion. Why is because it doesn't have any preferences. No preferences. So as long as one is powerful, the other it is too. And the craving and the aversion, are they really different? Because if you have an aversion to spiritual discipline, for example, probably you're craving for a nice and soft bed. So if you're getting averse to something, it's because you're craving something which is opposite, at least. So they are together, because if you don't have any, if you're not craving anything, so what comes, it's what comes. But if what comes, if you're craving something different, then aversion will be there. Because, and yes, there is this, because one gives pleasure and the other one gets pain. But this is superficial, it goes deeper than this. And everybody can learn more or less to accept the aversions, accept what is coming of bad, and bad is something which is exclusive to your judgment, to your beliefs, what is good and bad. So this bad is very relative to you. It's not the same for everyone else. So it's not real. Because it is relative to your own world, to your own beliefs. So in a sense, more or less, if you can train this, you will develop this power to withstand these things that you don't like for a while. But if you don't do the same with your cravings, it will never go too far. There will not be peace there. And by peace, I mean silence, stillness. You will always be compelled towards something, away from something. So cravings actually are even more important. In the beginning, yes, aversions are more important because they destabilize a lot. But as you go deeper into that practice, you will eventually understand, or will have to understand, by wisdom or by frustration, that cravings play a very significant part. And this shows in procrastination, avoiding spiritual disciplines. Yes? So this is why there's nothing wrong with Advaita. Nothing wrong is its excellence. But the way it is being passed, you see, it is for these situations where the work is still there to be done, whatever that means. And if it's not done, that doesn't mean it is good or bad, but if it's not done, you will not move. You'll just be there fooling yourself. And what a better way of picking something that can give me an impression that I'm doing something, spiritually speaking. Hmm? And I have nothing, there's nothing to be done. And I can avoid the spiritual disciplines. The part of dissolution. Hmm? And usually this is a mindset that it is about greed, just as something else, just a worldly, something which is sacred becomes worldly because of the onlook of the one who is pursuing it. So it doesn't bear fruits. It will bear something, even if your mind creates it, because there will be a need to maintain and protect this character. It is its design. So eventually, spiritual disciplines are one of the things, one of the things that can uh, make the process more real, more alive. Because you can delude yourself with a lot of things, but when it comes to spiritual disciplines, you can still do it. A lot of people does it because adapting is there, but it is quite more difficult, and you narrow the odds of distraction. See? So if you're doing spiritual disciplines, you start moving all the dirt, hmm? And then you have a real chance. If you're not, you just, dirt is underneath, and there's superficial peace, and but nothing else. So this self-inquiry becomes too superficial,